can't unlearn an experience.
That's right.
When you go and you actually have an experience of, oh, I feel the depth of my heart rate. I feel what that's like. I can start to feel vitality. That's what the Kundalini yoga science does for somebody.
From the Pritikin Longevity Center in Miami, Florida, welcome to the Healthier Everyday podcast, where we talk about your health, your fitness, your mindset, the food you eat, and putting it all together to create an amazing lifestyle. In this episode, we explore the transformative power of Kundalini Yoga and its benefits for the mind and body. This practice promotes vitality, longevity, and overall well-being. Diane Sykes is a fitness and nutrition coach, healer, and physiologist. She frequently comes to Pritikin Longevity Center to lead Kundalini Yoga classes during our mind-body retreats. As the director of fitness with decades of experience, ESPEL leads her team of exercise physiologists and helps guests develop a custom fitness routine in order to achieve the results they're looking for. Enjoy today's episode and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Kundalini yoga it's a lineage, it's a tradition. And unlike other forms of yoga, to which there are so many, Kundalini didn't actually come to the West until the late 60s. It was kept in secret. It's considered royal yoga. We say the Raga yoga. Yeah. And it was kept in secret for the royals because it was so powerful. And what got me personally into this specific modality is the fact that Kundalini is truly based in wonderful scientific principles. You know, this goes beyond spirituality, it goes beyond science, and it really comes down to how the mind and the body actually perform on a cellular level and the relationship that our mind and our body have together. And when we master the mind, we master the world. And most of us are either kind of floating around in our heads detached from our bodies or kind of projecting into all of this external stress and taking that on in the body without any awareness. And so Kundalini yoga really offers anybody the opportunity to really go within and really begin to develop a relationship with the body and with the mind, so that then they project healthfully out into the environment. So no matter what's going on around them, they can stay centered. And that is vitality. Yeah. That is essentially what vitality is.
And longevity.
And
sustainability and longevity, right?
Absolutely. And longevity is, you can have longevity, but without vitality, what's the point? Right? So it's not just how long you are alive, but your ability to have this sensation of like wanting to experience all of life all at once.
Yeah, that quality of the experience.
And it's an experience.
Yes.
And that's what I also appreciate about what the Pritikin offers, and particularly with the mind-body programs. It's an experience. Yeah. You know, most people know on a fundamental level that there's some connection between mind and body, and that stress is bad. And, you know, you can be cerebral, you can understand that, but you can still go about your life almost unconscious, right? Getting stressed out, reacting to things and letting it get bottled up and creating all these conditions and then going to the doctor and saying, what's wrong with me? You know.
And don't you think that COVID at that time really forced us? This is what I witnessed, and this is why we created the mind-body program. It really forced people to, we had no other choice. We had to stay inside. So maybe this is an opportunity to go inside, start with the mindfulness, and in a new way that, you know, maybe you were afraid of before or you never even knew about before. But all I know is when we started addressing that and guests coming to us with, I need to find a way. I need to be able to manage my life. And we had the very first Mind Body, I think in 2020, week. We even had that event. It was sold out. People are really interested now. And it's kind of really a nice effect or side effect of the COVID dilemma.
Ooh, yeah.
You know, there were people really, they call it waking up, but really understanding there are really simple ways to feel better that don't involve drugs. And if you're willing to take the time, which we now had at that time, right? It was such a gift.
It was, and it is. It still is. And, I think that's really, you're 100% right in terms of COVID creating this, you know, this shift in psyche, this awareness, this, you know, I do have a body, I do have a mind. I don't want to be separate from it. I want to have a relationship and I want to go within. And again, then having places like this where you can go and actually have an experience of it, because, you know, we're isolated, we're in COVID, you go on YouTube, you learn a bunch of stuff and you're like, great, now I have the information. The information doesn't really do much. You can essentially unlearn that, but you can't unlearn an experience.
That's right.
When you go and you actually have an experience of, oh, I feel the depth of my heart rate. I feel what that's like. I can start to feel vitality. That's what the Kundalini yoga science does for somebody. You go into a meditation and I'm having a relationship with my mind and I can see my thoughts, and now I can start to be very discerning about which ones I choose that are actually going to promote my health versus the ones that are actually like depleting my energy and destroying my character.
I'll never forget the first Kundalini class I took in New York City years ago, because someone had told me, I was working in a different industry or fitness industry, had told me about Kundalini and that I must go see Gurmukh, was it?
Oh, Guru Jagat.
Yeah.
My teacher. Yeah.
Your teacher. And it was an experience like no other. I never in my life experienced anything like that. And, you know, it was something where it was experiential enough that it really shifted. When I left, I didn't forget about it, just like you said about the experience. And it stayed with me, you know, through the years. It is
that powerful. And again, that, you know, I always say, like, if it was kept in secret, you know, there's a reason for it. And now having the ability to be a conduit for this lineage is so, you know, it's such a blessing. And I take it very, very seriously. However, I also really have been able to infuse the fun into it because, you know, that's, you know, we grew up in the fitness industry, and, you know, there's this cross-section point between, you know, having to work out and understanding this is play. Our bodies are meant to move. Our bodies are meant to experience, you know, like we got the coveted life form here.
Yeah.
You know, we got the human. Like we could have been a tree. Blessings to the tree, but like I'd rather be a human.
Yeah.
And, you know, for the little blip of time that we actually get to inhabit this body, why not just take full advantage of like this machinery and everything that it does? And I think, again, going back to your statement about COVID, coming out of that, many, many, many people experience, and, you know, I could just say this anecdotally, but we see them, you know, and we've seen them come through here. Many, many people experienced, wait a minute, you know what? There's ancient wisdom in this body. And if I just trust it, it's going to provide me with answers and guide me to solutions. And so many people came through Pritikin seeking that solution because they already knew that this was going to be something that would, in fact, help them.
Or they were at that point where they maybe knew about it. Because I think what people did, they started understanding through this type of practice, been around for over 2,000 years, right?
More than that.
Yeah, more than that. That it was accessible.
Yeah.
And when you just started, and your class, your experience is so unique and so different than any other methodology of yoga that I've ever experienced. And
We can't wait to welcome you to the Pritikin Longevity Center this summer. Be a part of our world-renowned program and enjoy our lowest rates in years. We're making some exciting improvements to our facility from August 6th through September 17th. During this time, our guests will continue to enjoy the lush grounds and world-class amenities of the Trump National Doral. Guests will remain engaged in the program in our temporary location, steps away from their deluxe accommodations. All at a price that is 40% off our high season rate. Our temporary facilities will be comfortable, luxurious, and convenient for you to experience the life-changing Pritikin program. The prices offered during the renovation will never be matched again. Book a consult today to learn more about these great low rates while they last. Come experience for yourself what over 100,000 people have learned, that Pritikin will change your life for the better.
It's a very exact science because we are working with the systems of the body. So it's,
The
precise.
nervous system, right?
Yeah, it's the nervous system. It's the endocrine system, my fave. And that's part of, again, why I really became involved was, as a physiologist specializing in endocrine function, specifically with women. And, that's just a vast, complex, there's so much, and it's not just what we understand in Western medicine. The entire Eastern tradition that has gone thousands of years before we even came up with anything in this Western world.
Absolutely.
And really, being able to integrate and to blend both, and much respect to a place like Pritikin, who is progressive enough to understand the importance of this integration. It's not one or the other. And certainly as a Western trained physiologist, I would never say it's, you just have to do the Kundalini. It's sometimes a beta blocker is awesome. You got high blood pressure,
right.
All the meditating in the world is going to be amazing, and we can do a lot, but it's devotion, it's daily practice. It's a regimen where you're devoted to your own self every day. And sometimes, people need to kind of condition toward that. They need to develop that. And in the meantime, if the high blood pressure is there, then we also have the advantage of our medical technology.
Sure.
However, with the ongoing devotion to a daily practice like Kundalini, the ROI is exponential.
Yeah.
And it's a compound effect. And, we always say that the meditative mind is the vitality, is the prosperity. And you can't take the body with you, but you can take your meditative life with you. Yeah. Because when the body goes, the soul is going to do what it's going to do. Whatever you believe in is your business.
Right.
But we all have a pretty good understanding that when the body goes, there is this
transfer of energy.
Yeah. And what exactly what you just said, scientifically speaking, the transfer of energy is now a ball of your meditative experience, your daily physical and mental practice, right? Mm-hmm. And how fully you live, how fulfilling your life is what you leave as the legacy. And something like Kundalini, you come into a class, and the beauty of it is anybody can do it. This is not, you don't need to be in like a cute yoga suit and have to do a handstand and have to have done all these prerequisites. And that was something I found incredibly offensive about so many of the yoga classes that I would just attend. I'm a fitness professional. I'd go to these classes and be like, you can sit in full lotus. Do you know what lotus is? And I'm like, dude, this is yoga. This is now stressful.
I need to leave.
Yeah, this is not Zen. Like, do you even you're creating this weird competition, Ashtanga yoga, and all of a sudden it's become power yoga.
Yeah.
And and so Kundalini is, we could sit in a chair. I've worked with folks literally incapacitated in the hospital. And it's like, there's one thing I'm going to give you this delightful little meditation. And it could just make the time pass easier. And they get a hold of this. And it's just this, it's a breath. And everybody understands their own breath. And we call it pranayama, right? The pranic force. And just to learn a breath technique could change somebody's life. The lineage of Kundalini over the thousands of years, the sages and great yogis would give one meditation, and people would trek miles and miles to come to seek out their sage and get the one meditation. And they would do that for the rest of their lives. And they would live healthfully. It's not like now where everything's, we have the luxury of having, everything accessible to us. So we can take a Kundalini class and we can get the meditation and we can get the prana. And we can get we call it a Kriya. A Kriya is the exercise component of a Kundalini experience. And we can get the teaching, because there's always a teaching in Kundalini. It's not just come in, do these exercises. We want there to also be, again, that mind-body relationship. So there's a teaching. And sometimes the teachings are not to be understood. They're to land cellularly.
Right.
Again, it's what's going to shift inside the body.
Sort of that unconscious, for beginners, or unconscious awareness that you may not, it's like leaving the class and just knowing you feel differently, but you're not sure why, and it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because that's the experience, right? It's hard to articulate that.
Right.
But then when you have it, you're like, oh, I can never unlearn that. I'm no longer the same human I was before. And I don't know what exactly happened. There was some sort of meditation. I felt some secretions. She talked about this.
I got tears in my eyes.
And I did some chanting, my meridian, something hit the roof of my mouth and it stimulated my pineal gland. And now I'm just operating at a different capacity than I was before because I opened things up that had been calcified or closed off or shut down. And again, that's a cellular response. And once that, it's like the floodgates open, I have rarely seen somebody be like a one-hit wonder.
Right.
Sometimes I'll see folks that are like, we always open up with a protection mantra and they'll hit this one sound current and it's like, I don't know what just happened to me. I'm just going to be with that for a while. And they may not come back for a while.
Right.
It's like that alone was powerful enough that it changed me and I got to be with that.
Right.
Most folks find their way back because it's like, wow, it's so easy. Not easy in the sense that you're not going to sweat, but there's ease in the effort of knowing that like, I can do this.
Right.
I can do any of this because it's so natural.
Self-efficacy. They believe, yes.
We live in a very complex world. We are very complex beings, and we've got a lot of tools to work with. We haven't really ever been given a manual.
We're not taught how to really care for ourselves. How am I going to lead an active, healthy life?
There's such an important connection between the mind and the body, between our mental health and our physical health.
Realize that we are here just to get better, happier, healthier, wiser.
If you're somebody who's looking to really focus on your own regeneration, I think what you will love is the program here at Pritikin, a mind-body week of incredible classes and events. I have assembled a team of presenters and experts internationally recognized in both the fitness and wellness community and also in the science and research community.
We need neurons to connect or kind of synapse.
Kundalini, it's a form of yoga, but it is very ancient. It's so sophisticated, so elegant, and so nourishing to the body, to the soul, to the mind, but it's an experience.
Practices that have been around for thousands of years finally are mainstream to really affect us in such a powerful way.
We just finished our Bliss Point session. So many mindful and delicious things like aromatherapy, breath work, stretching.
I'm going to teach them how to reconnect to their bodies and to identify cumulative stress. And then I give them these rebalancing techniques. I teach them how to decompress tension in their neck, their low back, and their hands and feet.
Yoga Nidra is a little different. We are really focusing on releasing your feelings, your bad emotions. We started out with scanning the body, centering the breath, feeling your breath.
You really get to kind of sit with yourself and your mind and your body, and hopefully, find a little bit, just kind of like a deeper love, a deeper appreciation.
Every yoga class, the sound bath, the talk, has just been fabulous. I just loved it.
So take advantage of the Pritikin Longevity Center's Mind Body Week. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Well, we brought Kundalini, I want to say 3 sessions ago. We brought Diane, and well, first of all, Diane and I became reacquainted down here when she came to Florida from New York. And the more and more time we spent together, the more and more I learned about you and all the things that you were doing. And I thought, I've got to have you. I've got to have you because what you do and the gift that you bring to so many is so unique. So the mind-body program is like a really nice, I think, eclectic collection of different techniques, different modalities, different styles, aromatherapy. We have so many wonderful and gifted instructors here, and I'm able to bring in people like you and others from outside of Pritikin to highlight all the other things available to these people when they leave, because typically they're only here for a little while, but to be able to experience maybe 5 different days of 5 different types of yoga, breathing, meditation, mindfulness, and walk away with that gift, including obviously Kundalini. And the greatest way is we end the whole usually sessions at the end of the week with you, and with one of the best send-offs because they got more than they ever dreamed that they would get. I'll bet you on Monday, anecdotal, but I'll bet you that's it because we just kept getting more and more requests.
Yeah,
it's working.
It's
working. Providing the tools, providing the elements, providing the talent, the gifts of all these different instructors. And that's what I find about yoga in general is so compelling. The yogi never stops learning. Unlike our industry, fitness, you get your certifications, maybe a few continuing educational events, whatever. But when it comes to yoga, it's lifelong learning, that commitment. And I learned that a long time ago. When I first learned about yoga, 25 years ago. And I thought, whoa, these people are incredibly gifted and unique because they're always learning.
Yeah.
Always bringing new elements into the experience.
Because the good yogi is the practitioner, not just the teacher. Right? So it's both. And it really then allows you to distill as a receiver, right? To distill who is the teacher versus the charlatan, right? Like who is the carrying the responsibility of the tradition, whatever the form of yoga is, that there is a responsibility to hold and project a curative frequency. Not like I have to learn these curative techniques and then teach them. No, when you are a practitioner, you start to embody a curative frequency so that you just simply get around people and they feel healthful, they feel vital, they feel inspired. And, that's cultivated in the yogi, and it has to be, shined and polished every day, deep devotion and growth from continuous learning. And, the Kundalini yoga specifically is thousands and thousands and thousands of teachings. This is so old. So it's almost infinite, the number of teachings, the meditations, the kriyas. There's a kriya for everything. And it's all now becoming available to us. And it's so wonderful to be a part of, again, an experience where you have different types of practitioners coming together, the talent of the Pritikin team itself, having an environment that is so safe and so luxurious.
Nurturing, I think, too.
It just ticks all the boxes. So you're coming in and getting open. So you have 5 or 6 days, you're getting a dose of different modalities and different things, but you're in this very nurturing, safe, luxurious environment. And beyond all of that, it's the community. What I felt so touched by when I first came to be a part of the team was, wow, these folks are here for a week, but it's like summer camp. They are here, they're dining together, they're talking, they're going out for walks together, they're doing sunrise yoga, they're going out for field trips, and it's community. And this is the age of community. Another thing we learned post-COVID and coming back into a social environment, understanding how important it is to be interdependent.
Oh, and the loneliness factor when we're not.
I mean, that really is the killer, because that kills the human spirit. And so developing opportunities for people to come and to be in community. And again, just Kundalini alone, we always say there's power in the pranic force when you commune together. If I chant a mantra and I'm holding a space for other people and we chant together, boom!
I know. I've experienced that.
Those are things that go out into the planet and change the course of history. That's how powerful we are as humans. But when we get together and we collectively focus in on our meditative mind and our capabilities as humans, our sovereignty, then whoosh,
beyond.
We really can impact the world. We really can create great change. And that is really what the world needs.
Love.
So people come in here for a week, they come in thinking they may get but they're going to leave changed.
Especially with this.
I really do like working one-on-one with folks because I am a physiologist as well. So the best way to work with me right now is through what I call a bioenergetic session. And typically we work very, very deeply with all the systems of the body and come up with an energy flow plan. Because really, as a physiologist, what we do, we manage energy.
Yeah.
Right? We look at the energy systems of the body and how we can get them to function at their best despite any conditions. What I also bring into it is the astrology, the cosmology, because it's not just a mind-body relationship. It's the fact that we also live on the earth, and the Earth's magnetic field has a very, very important relationship with the electromagnetic field of you as the human. And if we're not tapping into that energetic resource, I mean, that's gold. That is direct energy, and that is available all the time. And that is the work that I do with people is, let's maximize all the energy that's available to you. It's like cash. It's like, well, I'm only going to, make money over here doing this thing, this one thing. And even though you're saying I can, invest over here and do this over here, I'm not going to do that. It's like, take all the money, take all the energy, get it in you, and then you can share it You can be a generous, prosperous person. That's what I'm interested in. It's like every human living into their fullest potential, carrying out their destiny, not falling to their fate, but understanding that they can operate at the top of their game, physically, mentally, spiritually. So that starts with bioenergetic session. We go through, we assess, I take a look at everything from your vital signs to your natal chart, and then we put together this energy flow plan. And then many of the clients I work with will come back. And we do it every lunar cycle. So we keep it with the changing of the moons.
So cool.
And each lunar cycle provides its own kind of unique energetic signature that we can optimize in our human existence. So we will reassess. The natal chart won't change, but we will take the transits of where the planets are and align them with your natal chart. And it tells us so much information about your health, what to avoid, from foods to surgeries, and what to do. It's not just do this workout for the next 30 days. No, we're going to do this because it's about your goals, what you want to accomplish, but it's also about what energy is available that you can scoop up that's going to maximize and make you feel the best doing this type of workout and have the most fun. And people are engaged for life. And then they could take that and go with that forever.
I love that.
So it's fun. It's fun. So I do like doing that. It is very personal. It's very customized.
And you're here in Florida.
And I'm here in Florida. It doesn't take a lot of time. And I do actually work with clients all over the world because I do everything via Zoom, which is lovely.
Thank you for listening to the Healthier Everyday podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. If you're interested in learning more about the Pritikin Longevity Center and how the physician-led team of wellness professionals have been helping people for almost 50 years, visit Pritikin.com. That's Pritikin.com.